Alright, everybody. So, the DM basically named everyone in this town Steve, and we can't figure out what the fuck to talk to. Like, is it Steve the merchant or Steve the shopkeep? Or whatever the cart salesman guy, that word I hate.
The costermonger? Steve the costermonger?
Yeah, Steve the costermonger.
The costermonger.
Session's canceled because I can't figure this shit out. Welcome back to another riveting episode of the Session's Canceled podcast. It's me.
It's all about costermongers, baby. We're talking about costermongers.
We will actually be speaking about costermongers today, unironically.
Oh, let's fucking go.
I'm here with Josh.
The costermonger.
The costermonger, yeah, and Matt.
I can't stop thinking of that DBZA scene where it's like all the Steves, and it's like, sir, Steve has escaped. My son, the planet, or
me? Yeah. Me, my son, or the planet. Yep.
Yeah. All right, boys. So today's fantastic episode was actually brought to us not by our social media apps. Josh, take that away in about 30 seconds. But
what? Who? What?
Don't worry about it. So
today's episode brought to you by Manscaped.
If only.
Please sponsor us, Manscaped.
Please, Manscaped. We want to be the first. We want it to be the first one.
I want that 4.0 like beard trimmer thing. That thing looks so cool. But yeah, so I was actually speaking to Paladin 3 or so days ago, and he was telling me how he had just started his Avatar game. Not running, because he's going to be running one, but playing in one to prep for running the Avatar game that Josh and I will be a part of. And he was sort of like, I don't know what it is, but my new GM, but he's like not particularly good at setting the scene or like making us feel like we're in the world, which is kind of strange. Not strange, but like it's peculiar for me because I don't feel like I've ever had that problem. More often than not, I feel like my players want me to shut the fuck up sometimes because I will, talk about how the whistling trees and the cicadas doing the thing in every Japanese anime movie where they're fucking screeching, and like talking about how the willows gently wisp in the wind.
I like how you said that like we don't have cicadas in America.
We do. There's one outside my house, and I want to burn the fucking street down.
Yeah. They're not the same, Josh.
They are the same. In fact, they're the same species.
Stop lying to me.
They're the same. Oh, crap.
We actually, so in my old apartment in New York, we had the cicada killer wasps, which are the big fucking like wasp/hornet things that like burrow underground.
It's kind of metal.
Yeah, they are terrifying. They are fucking huge, like 1.5 inches long.
Oh.
Yeah, and they kill cicadas. And I always used to wonder why we couldn't find any cicadas in the apartment building. That would be why. And I had always known those wasps as sand hornets, which is what everyone in my whole family calls them, sand hornets. And I'm like, well, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense because this is like, like damp soil. Like it gets dry and kind of sandy during the summer, but we're not in like an arid spot. We're in fucking New York. We're built on a swamp. And then I found this year that they're called cicada killers. And I went, oh, that makes sense.
It checks out.
Yeah. But back to the original. I kind of was curious about you boys. Do you like find like generally setting the scene to be difficult? Do you enjoy doing it? Is that something that you like rely upon with your players to sort of get them into the moment?
Well,
sort of curious to see what y'all be running it.
Before I say any of that, take a moment. Hit the subscribe button on whatever you're currently listening on. And if you've already done that, tell a friend. Share it with a friend. Share us with a friend. Share us with a friend. That's, yep.
Yes, share me with a friend.
Now that you've done that.
Give them the other earbud.
Drinks.
Now that you've done that sharing that, I just requested because you're a good person. You're a good person who's listening very well and astutely. But I feel like I need a definition before I answer the question.
On what part?
So when we're talking about this GM who we'll call a Jimmy G.
Steve.
Or Steve, maybe Steve. So if GM Steve here has a hard time setting the scene, what was meant by that, and what?
Yeah, do you have an example?
Extrapolate a little bit, I guess is really what I'm saying.
Did they say exactly what he said? Like,
no,
there's a couple of ways.
That's kind of the issue, right? Is that I'm going off of what Paladin is just like
what someone
describing.
else told you. Right.
Yeah. So I'm assuming what he meant was like describing what the players see, what they hear, what they smell, what time of day is it, who's around them, what is the general scenario, like scene look like? Are they using like stage cues the way that Josh does, which is a pretty cool way of like helping with that.
Why use stage cues?
Yeah.
What?
You literally say things like, we see the camera pull in and out.
Oh, yes. I always describe things as if it's a movie being filmed or a show.
See, there's a part of me that wants to do that, but I feel like, I don't know, it feels kind of douchey to me. I don't know. I could be wrong. I'm probably wrong on this.
Wow. Okay, no, Josh. If there was ever a time for you to feel attacked, this is it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not.
I didn't feel attacked by that one, funny enough.
I didn't mean it to sound like an attack, but it's like if it works for people because you're not the only person I've heard who does that.
Well, so
for some reason, for me, I'm just. It feels like kind of like, I don't know, weird.
Well, I mean, do you get what the point of doing it is, though?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Because for me, well, no, it's not even so much about scene setting, actually. For me, the reason I use movie terminology is because most people are familiar with some basic like cinematography language. So I know that everyone, when I say the pans to the right, and a door comes into frame, it gives you a very clear, like you have the ability to picture that in your mind really, really well because you know the vocabulary I'm using.
Yeah.
So it's like what's the word? It's
shared experience or shared
lexicon.
Knowledge.
Shared lexicon. We all have the same lexicon of that movie terminology, so it makes it easier to construct a shot in your brain. So like when I say we fade in from black, everyone kind of knows that means like time has passed 90% of the time. So if I say we fade from this scene to that scene, without me literally saying, the players kind of clue in a certain chunk of time has probably passed just by me saying that, because it's just movie language we're familiar with. So that's why I do it. I don't totally know where I picked that habit up from, but I also don't do it consciously. I just do it. Like, I don't think about it. That's just how I describe it. You know, because you could probably figure out a similar thing with, you could probably use book language a little bit too, but books are a little more ephemeral, obviously kind of by design. So it may be a little tricky.
I was going to say, reading books, novels, like reading how other people describe things, that definitely helps.
Yeah, but books don't describe, the emotion of the scene, which I think can sometimes be really helpful. Like a book isn't going to talk about how like the camera zooms in, you know what I mean? Usually that'd be kind of interesting if a book was written that way.
I think it's because it's unnecessary.
No, you don't need to. But what I'm saying is doing that in a tabletop setting, I think adds a, adds like a dimension of understanding, I guess. You could there's probably other media you could, like, I don't know, maybe you could use comic style panel descriptions or something that could potentially work too, I suppose. Not entirely. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to think about that one. I mean, yeah, funny you pointed it out because it's very subconscious and I must have been taking it from someone else, but I don't remember exactly.
Well, you know what's funny? I specifically pointed it out
the entire time.
Yeah. So I pointed it out because I do it because of you.
Hey,
yeah, and I don't do it a lot, but you
don't need to do it a lot.
It is very, very useful for a very specific sort of transition or like emphasis on something.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you don't even need to do it very much. Doing it a couple of times and it sort of sets the brain tone. Okay, so
yeah, so based on those things, I believe that's what Paladin was describing.
Okay, so a sort of lack of the not establishing the fictional there's a word. There's a word for this. Not establishing the damn, I know there's a word for this. It's like the crap. I don't know. The fictional space, the headspace, it'll come.
I see. My brain is defaulting to Mind Palace.
Mind Palace.
It's not Mind Palace, but like same
Your
kind
imagination.
of. Well, the
a visual representation,
the shared. Man, what is the word? It's the shared something. The shared. God, this is gonna kill me.
Yeah, I can't think
it's
of
a
it.
term. It's a phrase I hear game designers say all the time. The
shared subconscious.
Close. That's close. Shared imagination. The shared fictional space. But there's a word I'm lacking.
Oh, fuck! I know what you're talking.
It's a phrase.
Something disbelief. Fuck. Oh, what's it called?
Not ludonarrative dissonance. That's different.
No.
Suspension of disbelief.
Thank you. That one.
Not quite, but suspension of disbelief is related.
Yeah.
No, because suspension of disbelief is like I'm willing to not think about this too hard because I'm accepting that we're playing a game.
Yeah. Okay.
What I'm talking about, there's a thing where you establish the shared space that all of the characters are in, and it gets all of the players' brains in the same zone.
Kind of like onboarding and
there's I don't know, it's gonna kill me, but anyway, okay. So not establishing the shared space is sort of where you're taking this, Isaiah. Is that where you're?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I mean, do I have trouble with it? I mean, I don't know. You're one of my players. Do I? I don't.
No, I don't think so. But like,
yeah.
Well, so it's the. Do you? When I say, do you feel like you struggle with it? I sort of meant.
Oh, like, is it hard?
Do you feel like you? Does it feel like a chore to you? Is it something that you have to like? Oh God, wait. Like, what does the scene look like? Are you using a reference? Because that helps a lot for me.
Oh no, I find it incredibly easy. I can bang I can bang a scene description out quick.
See, okay, same.
The only time I'll have trouble.
let me real quick. Let me start this. If you struggle with this and you're listening, this is not a condemnation of you.
No, I think some people find it. Some people find it easier than others.
Yeah. What we're trying to do here is to sort of maybe shift your perspective slightly in one direction or another, or give you like cheat sheets really to help this become easier for you. And hopefully, you know, the ultimate end goal is for you to just not struggle with it. Well, it's because I think what a lot of people do is they overthink it really hard. But yeah, go on.
There's definitely an element. I mean, I will say, I find it. The degree of difficulty will adjust slightly based on the like genre and stuff. Like, I'm not as big into sci-fi, for example, so it'll be a little bit harder for me to whip up a sci-fi like a ship interior on the fly. That's a little trickier. But like fantasy, I'm much more A, familiar with, and B, just more into, so it's easy for me to crank out by, you know, a scene in like fantasy tavern, you know, the local barrack, stuff like that, by virtue of playing, you know, fantasy video games and reading a lot of fantasy novels and, you know, all that good shit, right? Like, there's you know, it varies in degrees always. And then, you know, I'll say actually a good example is like my current game. It is sometimes a little bit harder not because I don't necessarily know what I want to describe, but because I'm trying really hard in my current game to not describe everything as generic Lord of the Rings Fantasy Town, right? I'm trying to add in like, it's Fantasy Town, but there's this Grecian style over top of the situation. So like, for example, I'm always very explicit when my players are in the main city that like, it's not a city of like wooden white lacquer buildings that you would think of when you think of like medieval Europe. It's a city built of stone apartment buildings that are made of like limestone, and have like Corinthian columns like adorning the corners and stuff like that, right? Like I think the way I described it really early on is like if you took the Parthenon and built it upward like an apartment building. Pretty sure that was a description I used at one point.
Something like that,
yeah. So that's a little bit harder just because I'm trying very explicitly to not go for the things that my brain wants to default to. Same way where if I was doing like a fantasy game that was like a sort of Japan or China inspired thing, I would have to I'd have to think a little bit harder and be like, it's a temple, but it's not a church, right? It's a Shinto temple, which means it's going to have those like really smooth, I can't even think of what they're called, but those really smooth, massive stones that lead up to the flat platform. The roof is going to be, you know, wider, flatter, and have those little accoutrements on the corner, those little like swirls that they often have that I can't think of the name of, you know.
Oh, yeah, fuck. I know what those are called.
Yeah, you know, that style of roof that a lot of the, like, Japanese temples have. Yeah, so sometimes that's a little trickier. But in terms of, in general, I mean, yeah, some people just have a hard time with this in general. And, you know, I mean, I'm sure you've heard about the whole thing of people online being like, I can't picture things in my head, right? I'm sure you've heard that whole discussion. I have varying degrees of believability about that. I don't know if we're all necessarily talking about the same thing to each other, but whatever. Point being, you know, for me, I think just because I have a really long, you know, art background, I've actually trained the skill of my brain to be able to just crank an image in there with like a word or two prompt. You know what I mean? Like it is a skill you could like practice.
Yeah.
You know, so like if somebody says to me, picture an apple on the countertop, you know, I don't just see red circle on flat box. I see granite countertop. It's an island. It's in the middle of the room. There's a window off to the right. There's light streaming in, hitting the apple so that it's well lit. It's a red apple. The light's sort of bending around, so it has a little bit of a golden hue. Like that, like as soon as you say apple on the counter, and all that extra detail just jumps into my brain instantly. You know? But again, I think that's because I've trained that skill. You know? So I can understand some people if they haven't needed to or cared to train that skill, because it is kind of a weird one. I don't know necessarily why you need to. You know, I kind of get it. I also, this is a side note, I think a lot of people who find books boring, part of the reason they find books boring is because they either lack or don't have this skill very well developed. Because I think a lot of people...
Yeah, I could see that being something that, like, that would severely hinder your ability to enjoy non-visual media.
A huge part of books is envisioning all of that as you're reading through it. I think if you lack that, I can see why books would seem a lot more boring all of a sudden. Yeah,
that's kind of what my struggle was in high school. Like, I hated reading books in high school, and then I found audiobooks, and it kind of, like, bridged the gap. And now I like reading. Now I like reading books.
Yeah. Particularly when you're talking about novels, that's such a, like, it's a huge part of it.
Yeah.
What do you think, Matt?
Yeah. I don't know. I've never really struggled, I guess, too. Kind of same thing with Josh, just because of, like, the art background, but also mostly because, like, I've watched, you know, I love fucking movies and shows, so I kind of know how the opening is, how to, like, describe, like, when, you know, characters are going somewhere. Same thing, mostly fantasy. If it was, like, another setting, like sci-fi or, I don't even know, like, a different kind of area, might have to take a couple extra, you know, brain power to describe things well. Kind of set the mood for the players. But I've learned, and again, I told you off podcast before, like, when it came to D&D, my only real, like, experience of that was, like, you know, I watched Chris Perkins do it for a little bit, and he is very quick. It would always be like one sentence of, like, setting the tone or setting the pace, and then that's it. I'm like, shit, okay, how do I do that? And then I started watching Critical Role, where Matt Mercer is, like, going on for 5 minutes. I was like, all right, I gotta find a happy medium here somewhere. But
Yeah,
like,
and
he is good. I will say, if people like are new to DMing and like are trying to like learn how to set the scene for your player, set the tone, watch some episodes of Critical Role, and then cut it in half. I would say from what Matt Mercer does, because he is
bring
good.
up a good
He's
point.
very good.
Because I was literally about to say, I would actually not recommend you watch Critical Role. Or, okay, watch it, but like severely temper, not expectations, that's not the right word. Well, temper what is expected of you. Because one of like the biggest criticisms of Critical Role that I've seen across a lot of like the RPG community is that Matthew Mercer says too much, which, you know, of all the problems to have as a DM, that's one of the better ones. You know,
100%. Yeah.
but I think like a lot of people get daunted by just Mercer's ability to improvise.
Mm-hmm.
And they go, well, I can't do that, like not on the fly. And then I think a lot of people can just be like, nope, I'm just done. Nope, I'm either gonna like not describe anything, or I'm just not gonna DM because that sounds too difficult.
Yeah.
Good advice that I go on. Sorry.
Well, so I was gonna say is the Matt Mercer goes on too long thing. I'm not gonna say don't do it, but I'm also not gonna say you should do it. What I'm gonna say is figure out if your group is into it or not, and then go from there. Because some people really, really want that 5-minute long descriptor because it puts them in the, particularly towards the beginning of the session, it puts them in the headspace of we're playing the game and I am my character, because giving that long descriptor gives you a lot of time to sort of chew the fat and be like, okay, this is where we are now. In the same way that a movie, it's fairly common that if you're not opening with an in media res situation, you're opening with a situation where it's long, drawn shots of the location or a character walking through the location. Like, I'm pretty sure Peaky Blinders, if I remember correctly, opens up with Thomas Shelby just like strolling through the streets of not London. Where do they start?
Birmingham. No.
Whatever. Grungy
Birmingham.
town.
It's Birmingham.
Yeah. He's like walking through the street. Oh no, he's riding the horse. That's right. He's riding the horse through the streets of Birmingham, and he's like, you can see all the people in the background and you see the factories, and he's sort of regarding the various people, and the fact that he's riding a horse stands out in a weird way. So it's like that whole sequence puts you in the mood for what Peaky Blinders is gonna be, particularly that first season. So doing that in your tabletop sense of going on for 5 minutes can do the same thing. However, some people will get bored. So you gotta kind of gauge your particular table. You know, like, and it can be tricky to gauge too. I'm trying to think if I have like a trick there.
Yes, it like very much depends on the table, but I think a trick that I had heard from XP to level 3 actually is
my boy Jacob the Goon.
Yeah.
I love
describe their senses. What do they see?
Yeah.
What do they hear? What do they smell? What is time of day is it? And that already, like, honestly, the most difficult one there is sight. But once, like, you can use the others to sort of build that, right? If you're like,
the others.
If you're trying to describe the Elf Song Tavern, you go, okay, you guys come in at like 6 p.m.-ish in the evening. The town smells of sort of lilac and gooseberries.
Sure.
The faint smell of like cattle manure in the streets and warm food being made sort of bridges your nose. You hear people conversing and singing songs and so on and so forth. And then you've now built pretty pretty much a visual setting in of itself, right?
Mm.
And then in that, you've done 80% of the work for the hardest factor.
I don't remember if I asked this of you guys a while ago, but do you use like background music and shit in your games?
I do, yes.
I do now. I didn't for a long time, but I decided that I wanted to. I still can't decide if I like it or not. I don't know.
What was your hesitant on using it? Or hesitation on using it?
It can sometimes be distracting, was my first thought. Sometimes. It depends.
Yeah.
It also was a little bit of laziness. I'm not going to lie. I didn't want to necessarily take the time to fish through the music and listen and be like, does this song fit? Does this song fit? I just,
Yeah. I don't know if anybody else has this issue on other virtual tabletops. So Roll20 has an extensive jukebox library. And
Right, yeah.
Yeah, he's big. Not to mention your own songs you could upload.
Right, which is what I've been uploading my own. I use video game music. Like for my current game, a lot of the ambient track stuff is Assassin's Creed.
Nice.
Which is kind of funny because I don't love Assassin's Creed, but the music does the job.
Are you using it from Odyssey or just any of them?
Odyssey, Origins, and I think I had a little bit of music from 2 in there at one point, but I took it out because it didn't quite work the way I want. So it's mostly Odyssey and Origins.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's like it can be a little distracting. I was being a little lazy about it. I also have this problem where like if I'm listening to a song to try and like be like, what's the vibe on this? I will zone it out really, really fast sometimes and be like, oh, I totally didn't. Like the song will end and I'll be like, I didn't listen to any of that. And yeah, I don't know. I felt like it wasn't really necessary, and I still don't think it's necessary.
No, it's not necessary. It's a nice add-on.
It's a little bit of an add-on, but there's also an element of it can get annoying too if you don't like keep updating the playlist. And like, I'm not the kind of person who's gonna update the fucking playlist every goddamn week. That's just not gonna happen. Like, it's just not gonna happen.
Yeah, I've added a couple of songs in mine here and there, but like, yeah, no, same thing. And then
yeah, I'm gonna be real. I add shit if I hear a song that I'm like, that's a banger, I'll add it.
Yeah,
right.
But you're not gonna catch me adding songs every week. It's like maybe once every 2 or 3 months I'll add a few tracks.
Yeah. So I don't know. But I've been using it mostly lately, and like, it's fine.
You can do some cool stuff. They also have like sound effects and stuff. Like my players, they're doing a big Coliseum thing soon, and they have crowd noises, and you could just have that on a loop.
So that's not music. That kind of stuff, like background ambient soundscape stuff, I like. That I'm into.
Right. Well, the background music, background ambience. It's
there's a difference. There's a difference because background music can affect the emotional tone, whereas background ambiance soundscape stuff can just sort of put you in the scene. Because like there's been a couple of times where I've had the music playing in the background and there's something going on, and sometimes it works good where I'm like, the song's hitting a good point right here. But there's been other times where I'm like, this is really dramatic for something that is not that dramatic right now.
Yeah.
So like there is a difference between just the soundscape and like actual music. It will give you a different effect.
Yeah.
But I also don't think if your problem's strong word. If you are struggling with sort of setting that shared mind space, I don't think the music's going to help.
No, music is more. I don't want to say advanced
extra.
Technique. I don't want to say advanced technique, but like it's an advanced technique.
It's a little sauce on the top. It's a little something extra. I don't think it's not gonna help you necessarily.
No.
Yeah. Well, so what I think that the music does is something that I've spoken about several times in previous episodes, which is it helps build morale and enthusiasm. And a lot of the time, again, this is for me, but like if my GM is excited about something, I'm excited for something, and vice versa. If I'm running the game and I'm like really hype describing, like before we went on a hiatus, we had this like big boss fight with this like bandit gang, right? And the dude in question is like this 6'2", built like a brick shithouse rock and roll death metal looking motherfucker, like with skull makeup on his face and massive like Bowie knives. And the like hype that I put into describing him, people were like, oh fuck, this guy's gonna be insane, you know? It's infectious.
Yeah. There's also in combat, like in my combat playlist, there's I told you guys the one song Club Seamus, where it's like this.
Yes, you have.
Tavern pub jig, and every time it comes on, my players are like, oh shit, it's Club Seamus, let's go. And just like, now's our time, boys, seize the day.
It's like, yeah, it's like every time the Critical Role crew hit that one point in the song where they're all like, "Wah!" every time.
Yeah, I love that.
Same energy.
Josh,
same guy too.
This means you have to put Kuma and Hornet of Og in your campaign.
That's so off tone.
Speaking, actually,
I know, but like it'd be fantastic.
Sorry, this just got into my this very random. You know, they finally put the Warhammer Dark Tide playlist on Spotify.
Oh, fucking finally, dude. Let's go.
Yeah, so people who link their Spotify to like their D&D games, use that shit. That music is nuts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking praise the Omnissiah, baby. Let's go. Give me that fucking assassination theme.
Yeah, I think it's called like
I can't remember the name of it.
Like Sue or something, or no, it's something like Airlock or whatever. But yeah, that shit goes so fucking hard. That song is in my fucking playlist for my game.
Of course. Disposal Unit.
Yeah. You're like, oh fuck, here we go, baby.
Yeah, time to beat some heretics, baby. Yeehaw! Yeah.
Oh wait, apparently
start making caveman noises and revving your chainsword. Actually, fucking.
Has Dark Tide been out for a year?
Close to it, yeah.
Oh shit. Okay, never mind. I guess I just never noticed before. This album, it's been on Spotify since November last year.
Is it all of it though?
I believe so. It's a pretty fucking big original soundtrack. Yeah.
Might not be all of it though, because they sell the original soundtrack also, so they might limit what's on Spotify. I don't know. I know all of fucking Guilty Gear's on Spotify, I tell you what.
Yeah. Keep getting random Guilty Gear music at work.
As you should.
Out of nowhere.
It took me, Matt, 10 years to give up about something in 2 seconds.
Fuck you.
That's about it.
Another trick that I think a lot of people struggle with when it comes to like setting a scene is, I think, I'm guilty of this, which is kind of why I'm speaking on it. Is I used to get really worried about everything going on in the like city or even like building that the players are in. And let me tell you, that shit don't matter. What really matters for you is two things as a game master or someone running a game, right? What is in your player's immediate vicinity and what is in the immediate vicinity of their goal. So if they if they're in like a graveyard robbing a grave to get like the super secret signet ring that gets them into the cool club at the bar, that's the only shit that matters. What's going on in that cemetery and what's going on at the bar. And the only reason why the bar matters is if there's something along the lines of like a time limit or some sort of sense of urgency. Maybe that the players need to get to the bar before the mob boss gets to the bar and sees that they stole his stuff, you know? Or if you're, while they're doing things actively, you're passively thinking about like, okay, how many dudes are going to be at the bar? Is the barkeep willing to give them information if they pay him? Stuff like that. But if you're not going to see it that session, shit, if you're not going to see it in the next hour, don't worry about what Scrimblow Bimblow, the fucking bar down at the theater, is doing, because you're detracting brain power that you really don't need to be siphoning off for something that doesn't matter that much.
Wait,
if you got a bunch of shit.
Are you saying you were describing like what NPCs were doing that weren't even like around the players?
No, I was worrying about it.
Oh, worrying about what they're doing. Oh, yeah, no, fucking God, no. Fuck that shit. Who cares what Scrimbo's doing at the bar? It don't matter. Scrimbo don't exist until players talk to him.
Look, that's what I'm saying. I agree.
If players don't talk to him, he's in an ethereal realm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's in hammer space.
Yeah, like you could think about that shit sort of I think it's more useful to worry about that mostly in between sessions. You know, and then if it comes up in the moment, you could take a pause and be like, yeah, where would he be at? Oh, he'd probably be here. Okay. You know, like, yeah, you definitely don't need to stress what they're up to specifically on the daily.
Yeah. And even then, right? Like, if you get to a point where you start to worry about it, you have to really, like, your biggest thing is to just take a step back and go, does this matter? Like, really, like, and that sounds kind of cold, I guess, or like kind of crude or whatever. But you sort of mean it insofar as do the math, like rough math, admittedly. Like, what are the chances that the players are going to be going there next session? Possible, but minimal. Okay, if it's minimal, then
I'm going to say it's a 17.8%.
God damn.
Wow. How can you do this?
That's what I think the chances are.
I can't believe you've done this.
I almost forgot about that.
I can believe I just did that.
You know what's wild is that took me a hot second to be like,
yeah, it did.
what the fuck are you talking?
Yeah.
The return of Gaslight, you got me. Have you seen that? This is a complete detraction. Have you seen that post on Twitter where someone's like, I swear to God, if I hear if I see the word gaslight on Twitter one more time, I'm going to freak the fuck out. And someone commented, you're not seeing it that much. It's all in your head.
Oh my God.
Fuck.
That's a great response.
Like, no.
Oh, I hope that person who responded was taking the piss.
You know,
that's so good.
Either way, it's amazing.
Fucking A.
I see no downsides to this.
Yeah, no, it's a win-win. You know, I'll do you one better, Isaiah, because you're like, oh, don't worry about what Scrimbo Bimbo's doing at the bar. This is how you know it's not important to worry about that kind of shit. Professional movies don't worry about that shit either.
Yes.
How many times do you watch a movie where it's like, we need to go find Jim? Oh, Jim's down the street at the bar. Oh, that's convenient. Yeah. Because it's a fucking story. Of course it's going to be convenient. Who the fuck cares? Jim's at the bar nearby. Don't worry about it. It doesn't matter. Has Jim been at the bar all day? Maybe. I don't know. Whatever. He's hammered. Who cares? Doesn't matter. How has he been there so long? Don't worry about it. Yeah, that's how I look at it. It's like if literal professional productions where you could, like, because if you think about it, right, if you're doing a movie or a show, you could take notes and write down exactly whatever character could potentially be doing in every single scene. Like, you could take that time if you wanted to. But if they're not fucking doing it, then Steve the GM ain't doing it either.
Yeah.
You're not Martin Scorsese. It's okay. He's an asshole anyway. You don't want to be him. Well, you might want his money.
Also true.
You might want his money, but you might not want to be him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you don't want to, you know, a player dies in a really dramatic way and you're like, nope, run it back. Nope.
You don't want to tell people that they're basically simians because they enjoy superheroes. You know, that's all I'm saying.
Yes, that is all.
I got a lot of beef.
Oh, no, I was thinking of Stanley Kubrick. That's why Martin Scorsese was like, Marvel movies aren't real cinema.
Yeah, I got a lot of beef with that, man. Don't even get me started. Martin Scorsese, and fuck you, Ghibli, too, while we're at it. Sorry, not Ghib. LOL, Miyazaki.
No, yeah, Hayao Miyazaki.
Miyazaki, yeah.
Have you seen, there's a great picture where it's like art versus the artist, and it shows Spirited Away, and then Hayao Miyazaki, like, perpetually fucking depressed.
Yep.
And then it shows like Junji Ito's drawings. It shows like Uzumaki, and then it shows Junji Ito, and he's like the happiest dude on the planet.
God, I hope so. That'd be great.
It's such god. Fucking. Let me see if I can find it.
Oh my god. Yeah. So yes, I'm just reinforcing. Yes, Isaiah's point was correct, if you will. He had a correct opinion on that.
Yeah. Kind of help with this. I do have like 3 bullet points that I use from Sly Flourished all the time. Kind of help me when I'm like setting up like a game.
Yes. Okay. Tell us what Lord Punchable has said.
Yeah. So basically, like 3 points when like
that is him.
It's probably a nice dude too. That's really sad.
He probably is.
He's a very nice. Oh my god, that's great.
At this point, I'm just memeing.
But yeah, no. It's called creating a strong start. And basically 3 points are like, what's happening, what's the point, and where's the action? If you think about those three things,
where's the point?
Yeah.
Or what's happening, what's the point, and where's it?
So basically, you're kind of like reinforcing the belief in the frame that's starting the game session with like maybe an event of some sort, or like what the players are doing. Because again, it is the players.
Yeah.
You know, so you can have like, oh, like it's everyone's preparing for the annual feeding of the rock festival, and it's like, you mean like a rock like the mineral or the bird? And it's just like, yes, you know, like what?
And then you go to the festival and they're feeding the mineral to other bigger minerals for some reason.
Yes.
And then the bird shows up at the end.
Yeah.
To pick up the bigger rock. The rock shows up to pick up the bigger rocks.
What's another example? Like, it's Boxing Day and the Lord of the area is serving drinks to the local farmers.
Matt, are you Canadian? What the fuck did you just say?
This is literally what he wrote in his fucking
Boxing?
book.
Is he Canadian?
Maybe. You know what? That would explain a lot.
What the fuck is Boxing Day?
It's the day after Christmas. That's like a thing in Canada.
Hmm?
It's the day after Christmas.
Look, I'm a newly mitten Texan. I don't know what the fuck that is.
Yeah. I think Britain does it too, actually.
They do.
Yeah.
Is this like a Protestant thing?
No, it's not religious. I think it's sort of a modern capitalist tack on after Christmas.
I would say we could Google this.
I believe it has something to do. Nah. See, Matt, if I've learned anything in my many years of life, you just say things confidently enough and say it with your chest, so people just go with it.
It's when the firstborn son of every family in Canada goes out and fights the neighbor.
Yeah, it goes and fights a lion or some shit. I don't know.
The big kid on the street.
I think what it is it's like the day after Christmas, you're supposed to like sort of swap off and deal with the gifts you like didn't want, or somebody else wanted a gift or something. Like, I think that's the idea. I'm slightly talking out. I know it's a thing. It's a thing. I just don't remember exactly what the point of it is. That's why I questioned Matt mentioning Boxing Day. I was like, what?
It wasn't. He literally has a bullet point list of examples.
He must be Canadian then, right?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I'll ask next time on the Patreon.
I know he ain't British, because he don't, unless he somehow burned the accent out of his throat. But as far as I can tell, he's not British.
You could be like Rubber Ross, where he's like American as fuck, and the second he goes back to Australia, it's just thick accent.
Good day, mate. Barbies. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh fuck! I lost my. Second point. What's the point? You know, start off the game session. Should kick the players, or send the characters off to do something. Have a clear
kick
point
the players
purpose.
right in the face over
kick
the
the players
table.
right into the adventure.
Kick your players in the nads. Get them moving.
Yeah, most often this is like the main seed or a hook for the characters for the next stage.
I feel
of the
like
adventure.
that is often. That's not necessarily. It could be about scene setting, but it isn't necessarily. But I do feel like that is often a point a lot of newer DMs sort of fuck up, where the what's happening or like what's the point part of it, they expect the players to like find their way to that bit on their own, which is often very hard.
Yeah, because it could also be like, because I remember a lot of early DMs, and I even did this, where it's like, I don't want to give all my players the info, and then like
you're at this point
where
give
it's
your
like,
players most of the info. It's
right. Give them most of the info. You know, like the whole DM book where it's like, my players have to solve this crazy puzzle. Pulls out puzzle books for like 5-year-olds, like. You want them to.
Well, yeah, because I think the thing that a lot of people don't. I don't want to say don't understand, but don't think about, maybe like don't consciously think about, is the fact that a lot of these ideas that you're having, like, I want my players to solve the cool puzzle or the cool mystery or this, or they have to find their way around town to get to the quest or whatever. The reason that doesn't work a lot of the time, or is quite hard to make work, is because stuff like that in video games or TV or a book or whatever, there's, particularly when you're talking about like video games, for example, because that's where a lot of people are taking it, you have visual things to look at to point you in the right direction, and you have you know, you have a UI that's potentially pointing you in the direction. You have the visuals to look at. You have maybe your character's like voice acting says something that points you in the right direction. There's a lot of other stuff going on to point you in that direction. Tabletop, we're all playing make-believe and throwing funny click-clacky math rocks.
I mean,
you got to explain things.
Yeah, you got to explain things.
Got to explain things. We can't read your mind. If we were all mind flayers, playing D&D would be a lot easier.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying handouts could help and stuff. Like if you're like,
that's a visual.
Like if you're which I feel bad because I don't really use handouts anymore. But Roll20 just makes life fucking easier.
Yeah.
Oh, I use an ass load of handouts.
That's good. No, I feel bad because I feel like I should be using more, but I have so many like different things between Discord and Roll20 that it's kind of necessary for me anymore.
Yeah, it's like you're expecting your it's like you're expecting your players to figure out what's going on, and all you do is hand them a piece of paper that says goblin titties, and you just go, okay. Like what are they supposed to? You know, like what are they supposed to do with this?
Yeah. And then the third point, where's the action, is basically like bringing the viewers into the story in the most immediate way, avoiding setup and jumping close into the dramatic as possible.
In media res.
Yeah.
Always in media res.
He literally has that word in this.
Of course.
I was avoiding. I wasn't going to say it, but like he has it right there.
In media res. Always. Listen, I start every session one I have ever had since I might have even done it when we ran 4th edition. I don't remember, but no, I did do the tavern in 4th edition. God damn it. Fuck. That shit's like a mind plague. How does everybody come to the same? Why does everyone come to that conclusion? Why? How do we like?
Well, so
there's been a bunch of videos.
A part of me really thinks it is.
What?
Is because if you think about it, right?
Yeah.
The Lord of the Rings really
starts in a tavern.
Doesn't start until they meet Aragorn.
That's true.
Yeah.
Right. It is the most memorable part of the first movie
when they're in
is like meeting in the Prancing Pony in Bree.
Bree, yeah.
And they like, that's a Strider over in the corner. He's like a super badass, but don't talk to him. He's got weird magic.
Yep.
Like,
that's true.
It's just iconic. Like,
and then Aragorn grabs him and is like, you thought this was your story, bitch?
You know what's funny too?
You're like, wait a minute.
One of the more memorable scenes prior to that is Bilbo's birthday, which is kind of
another party,
similar party. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, no, they even went into the tavern in Hobbiton.
In the Shire?
Yeah. Yeah, in the Shire. Yeah, there was that one scene where Sam, like Sam wanted to talk to the girl, and then Frodo's like, come on, man, go, you do it. And he's like, nah, she wouldn't like me.
Yeah. Yeah, well, wasn't that part of Bilbo's birthday? Wasn't it? I don't know.
No, I think that was after.
Maybe. Either way, point being,
remember, years went by when Gandalf left the fucking party.
Point being, yes, yeah, I mean, maybe you're on it. I just think it's really funny that we all come to this weird conclusion that starting at a tavern is somehow a good idea, even though I don't think it actually is. We just all decide to do it for some reason.
I think it's because it's the classic, like it's easy for players.
Why is it classic though? That's what I'm like.
For
you know what I mean? Like,
because I guess because a lot of, I think it's classic in the D&D sense because that's where people because that's where old adventures used to get set up in the tavern.
Did they
people
though?
When they a lot of old adventures, it's like you go to the tavern because that was where you got the quest from.
So where does that idea come from?
That's where you rest as well, because they didn't have hotels back in the olden days, apparently. So you had to go to the tavern to rent the room.
Well, but think about it. Like somebody had to start the Gene seat.
Yeah, I'm assuming it was. Jesus.
God damn it.
Weird. What a weird phrase to use for that. But yeah, I think it's because
Gene seat is a 40K term.
Yeah, that was a 40K thing I just said. I hate that my brain just. We're gonna pretend like I didn't say that. I'm gonna pretend like I didn't say that. But somebody had to.
It's like that other episode at the very beginning of our tenure where I referenced that other really popular podcast like a dumbass.
Yeah. it's like somebody had to get that train roll. Like somebody had to. It had to have been a book, right? Because D&D's from the 70s, so it almost certainly was like a book or a comic book where like some sort of story started in a tavern, and that just got the ball rolling. You know what I mean?
Probably the Vance novels.
Maybe.
Jack
So
Vance
maybe.
novel, I don't know.
Could be Lord of the Rings, though. It could be Lord of the Rings.
It's not the Dritz novels. Yeah, it could
it's
be
not
Lord of the
Dritz.
Rings.
Wait, correct me if I'm wrong, right? So, aren't all of the like original D&D adventures always talked about like as a tale in the Yawning Portal, which is a bar?
No.
Isn't that a thing?
No. Well, that
No.
was how the premise of the Tales of the Yawning
That was the
Portal
premise of that
book.
adventure.
Yeah, that adventure, but not all adventures are during telling let me tell you a tale, and then
I mean, you could
No, that was
contextualize
this-
them that way easily, I'm sure.
oh yeah, you can. But that specifically was for that book, and they're like, we want to revamp a bunch of old adventures.
Yeah. I don't know, it's just a funny, because I did it too. I thought I didn't, and then I thought about it. I'm like, no, I totally did start the 4E game in a fucking tavern. That's crazy. It's such a crazy cultural zeitgeist that we are all unable to escape from. Like, it's just seared into our neurons in a way that no one can explain. And like, you will ask the oldest, most wizened grandmaster DMs, and they'll be like, yeah, I started in a tavern. Like, God damn it, every fucking time. Like,
I mean, the 3.5 year game was I started in a
right?
tavern
That's
just
what I'm
'cause-
saying.
But I also,
You know
because
what's-
I was literally following the MCDM video.
Well, yeah, I mean,
And he
sure.
literally was like, classic, the tavern. And
Right,
I'm just
yeah.
like, yes, Matt Colville.
I mean, there is
Whatever you say.
I shit on the starting in the tavern thing a lot. There is a certain degree of usefulness to it in the sense that you can let your players sort of do stuff inconsequentially and sort of act in character, and it's very low stakes, and you can kind of faff about a little bit. It's good for that. I think the reason I have beef with the tavern thing, I guess this is a whole tangent we're going down. The reason I have beef with the tavern starting thing is because the GM usually the GM doesn't know how to go from we're faffing about in the tavern to okay, now we're actually adventuring. You know, a lot of GMs have a hard time pushing that ball forward, and I think that's where it becomes tricky. And that's why what I was gonna say before I started going on this huge tangent, that's why I basically from that point forward have always started my games in media res. Something's already happening, and Isaiah can attest to this. The game he's in right now started with, okay, you guys are in this prison cell. The guards are bringing each of you into the cell one at a time. A couple of days pass. Mysteriously, the prison cell opens on the third day that you guys have been there, and you hear some weird noises down the hall. Players go down the hall. Hey, look, there's monsters. You know, like in media res. I had a Dungeon World campaign where I was like, cool, players. So you're out on the street. All of the buildings around you are currently on fire, and there's goblins ransacking the village you are in. What do you do?
Neat.
I had my Stars Without Number campaign started with the players. What's the word? Exploring? Yes, exploring a derelict ship, looking for an old artifact filled with a bunch of weird aliens.
Yeah.
What was some other good ones I had?
Even like in the book, he's like, you know, think of every single James Bond movies. They start with a car chase, ski chase,
Yep.
you know, shooting, things blowing up.
I'll do you
He's
one
like,
better.
It works in movies. Like,
I'll do you one better. The most classic, iconic start to a movie, Star Wars Episode 4. You see the cruiser, you see the fucking, not the Death Star, god damn it. Help.
the triangle.
The triangle, help. Isaiah. Star Destroyer. Jesus Christ. I swear, guys, I'm a real nerd. I know they're called Star Destroyers. I don't know why I forgot that. You see
I'm a real nerd.
you see the Rebel cruiser, and then you see the Star Destroyer come in. The next shot we got, oh shit, shit's going down. People are dying. Darth Vader's here, right? Like classic in media res shit. Classic.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So instead of like starting with like, you know,
How did I
you
start
could
the
instead
Star
of starting
Wars
with like
campaign?
heavy.
Isaiah, how did I start Star Wars? Do you
How
remember?
did you start? We touched down on.
Oh, you were sneaking through the jungle to get to the city.
Yeah,
what it
I
was.
can't remember what planet we were on though.
I don't remember what planet, but you were sneaking through the jungle. Well, it was the planet in Solo, I think. I think it was Corellia.
Oh, that's right. We were on
yeah. I think it was Corellia.
Oh God, Corellia. Yeah.
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 But yeah, you were sneaking through the woods, and then you came up to an NPC who immediately threatened to shoot one of you in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a
yeah, even he's saying like in here, he's like, oh, instead of like describing shit and taking a long like Matt Mercer setting to see, plotting
action.
You can
go.
Just started with close combat or something. He even says like after that, if you want, you just start them off in combat too. He's like that could work. Where it's like all right, guys. So you're walking down the street, and all of a sudden the building next to you explodes, and a fucking Warforged shows up with a gun aimed at you. Roll initiative, and you're like. Wait, Matt, I thought we were in downtime, and it's like, nope.
I had a Apocalypse World campaign where the very first scene was the driver character, and I said, "Hey, you're this is a little cheekier than most people would probably do for D&D, but the driver character, I was like, cool, you're in your car, you're driving across the wasteland, you can see the town you're going back to in the distance, it's the town that this other character is running." Because one of the characters was a playbook that basically like owned a town or something close to it. As you're driving across, there's 3 other like Mad Max style vehicles on chase. They're pulling guns. They're about to open fire on you. Also, you have a passenger who's a young kid. And I said to the player, "Who's the kid?" And I let the player answer. I don't remember exactly who the kid ended up being. But that's one of those things again, A, little cheeky for D&D, and B, something you got to be a little more confident DM-wise to be doing. Because a lot of GMs would probably stress from that. Yeah, I was like, you're about to get shot at, and there's kids in the car. Who's this kid, and what do you do? Start with crazy shit. I remember I watched another Apocalypse World campaign that started with a character being held up by the throat with a gun in their face from a different character, and the GM said, "So, what'd you do to piss this guy off?" That was a fun one. Yeah. Listen. It's true. Cool. Starting the crazy. Just get right into it. Bada bing. Where were we? I feel like start your games in media res.
Yeah.
Start sometimes sessions too, right? You can start whole sessions like.
Well, that's what he means with the strong start. It's like these are all beginnings of sessions in order to get you in the world. Because like I'm trying to think like how could you like for Isaiah's example earlier with the Avatar game like. The Avatar world is so crazy,
vibrant, and colorful, and interesting. Yeah.
And it's like, how do you not like? All right, guys. So you show up at the tea house. What do? Like, what do you mean? What do?
What do you mean? Like, what do? Give me the tea house.
What does the tea house look like?
Describe me the low tables, the pillows on the floor, the aroma of the green tea wafting through the like. There's so many.
There's tea. And it's in a house.
Yeah, I can. It's
damn
funny,
GM.
Matt. It's funny, Matt. You say tea house, and immediately I just thought of Uncle Iroh's tea shop in Boston. Like instantaneously.
The Green Dragon. Yeah.
Yep. Instantaneously came to my mind.
Yeah. Same. Like, fucking. Like, it's like, how do you not take the Avatar world and are able to, there's so much shit you can take from that and describe and like use it to like set the or like even like. It's
you can even describe what Iroh was wearing.
Yeah,
like he was wearing the green robes with a bit of a brown sort of like a vesty looking thing over top. Like,
you can pull it back even more and just be like, all right, guys. So right now you're in the middle of the Earth Kingdom. Just that alone, you're like, okay.
Yeah, that gives you some architecture.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, all right. We're good. We got where we are. We are anchored into the world.
Jasmine Dragon, by the way.
Jasmine Dragon. I knew. Damn it.
Also, sorry, I misspoke. His vesty thing was also green. I thought it was a darker color, but he had like a green robe and like a green heavier vest thing over top.
Yeah. Lots of greens and busing say.
Not that that's relevant. I just
No. Yeah. and this wasn't me like trying to like shit on the other DM or anything. I feel bad now that I think about it. I could have been a little not as harsh.
I mean, you're making a point.
Surprised. Yeah, I'm making a point where it's like it is kind of surprising. Especially like you were saying, a very vibrant, very hot fantasy descriptive world like Avatar where there's so much like life and weirdness around.
And actually, when we're talking about something like Avatar, which is an IP that because when you're playing D&D, if you're doing your own little like homebrew world, D&D doesn't have a codified look, right? Like, you can reference certain things, like a beholder looks a certain way, obviously, right?
Or like the monster manual.
Monster manual stuff, and there's like certain accoutrements and like iconography from gods, and the gangs have certain symbols and stuff, but like there's no set look to like a D&D town, right? So you're sort of going off the fly. If you're doing something like Avatar, Star Wars, fucking,
You have
The Witcher.
reference.
You have direct imagery to pull from. Yeah, so you can go, you can almost cheat, because everybody has, not only do you have direct reference, but particularly when you talk about Avatar, the direct reference is a cartoon. So it is a visual direct reference. So it's like, you guys walk down, you're walking down a street, you're in Ba Sing Se. Okay, instantaneously, those two things, I can see the stone buildings of Ba Sing Se, I can see all those like really hard squared off buildings, the window, the like circular windows with like the square in the middle, that sort of like coin thing going on. As you walk by, you see a guy pull a cart. A guy comes past you with a cart that's being pulled by a fucking duck horse. You know, like, I couldn't think of a good animal example, but you know what I mean? It's like, you could use the weird animals in Avatar. You can literally say, you don't have to just say an animal. You could say an Avatar animal specifically. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can literally say, the people, the people walking by you are wearing the garb of the Ba Sing Se lower city, which again, we know what that looks like. You know, it's like, you don't actually have to describe it. You could just use the reference. You know, in the same way that if I'm running Star Wars and I say, you see a stormtrooper, I don't need to tell you what the stormtrooper looks like. You know what a stormtrooper looks like. So you could...
God, I'd hope so. That would be kind of awkward.
It would be
Can
kind
you
of
imagine running a Star Wars game and never watching or consuming any Star Wars media? You're like,
Never
this sounds
watching
cool.
any of them. Oh my.
Yeah. But it's like, you can cheat. It's
The
like,
GM gave me a laser sword.
yeah.
You're like,
It's like, you can literally cheat, you know what I mean? Like, if you're using a set IP, I mean, fucking easy money, dude. So easy. Oh, man. Or if, like, you're running Star Trek, it's like, cool. You step onto the ship. You see the captain is wearing a red shirt with the black shoulders, that indicates a captain. You're like, oh, okay, I know exactly. With the Federation emblem. Like, oh, yeah, okay, I know what I'm looking at. You know what I mean? Like,
then you lean over to your buddy. You're like, he's going to die first.
Well, not
Only in the original series.
only in the original series.
Oh, only in the original.
Yellow
Oh,
shirts,
okay.
the next generation.
Yellow
I don't know.
shirts, yes.
I don't know shit about Star Trek.
Red shirts were captain in the next generation. When Picard was a captain, he wore red.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I literally, I low-key forced Josh to watch a lot of Next Generation with me.
Yes, he kind of did that.
Oh shit.
But anyway, yeah, like, that's an easy tip for sure. If you're using an existing IP, reference the ever-living fuck out of it. You know, like, I mean, I remember in Star Wars being so specific about all the different alien species because it's Star Wars. Of course I'm going to mention that this guy's a Quarian, that's a Mon Calamari, that's a Twi'lek in the corner. Of course I'm going to do... It's Star Wars. That's the best part. Of course I'm going to mention all the weird aliens and be really, really specific about what everybody's species is. You know, in D&D, you're like, I don't know, he's a dwarf or some shit. But you're playing Star Wars, you're like, no. Listen, bud, that's a Duro. He knows how to fly.
I just remembered that Ro had a thing for Togruta women. Because one of the guys like, hey, we got humans, we got Twi'leks. He's like, you got any Togruta? And the guy's like, what?
I don't remember that bit, but
degenerate.
Right.
Yeah. I just kept making jokes at being like, do I see any Togruta women?
I don't remember that, but okay. Fair enough. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I see the easy answer is Ahsoka, but I feel like Ro is into like the Shakti huge Leku.
Boy. Oh boy.
Just enormous head crest.
Look at those head tentacles, baby.
Oh baby.
That just gave me a weird urge to run a Mass Effect game. Just so I could make jokes about fucking shit.
Sorry.
Woo! Yes, Asari head tentacles. Thank you. Jesus Christ, dude.
What is this? That one? Those like it's what is it? It's a Turian and
the bachelor party.
It's like no. They have a head.
Yeah. It's a human, Turian, and I always forget their name, but Morden Solis's race. The
Solarian, yeah.
Solarian, yeah. It's them three, and it's a bachelor party. They're having a bachelor party for their Solarian brother. And the Solarian dude's like, I don't understand why we're doing this. We don't really live that long anyway. This seems like a lot of shit. He's like, come on, man, you're getting married. We got a party. He's like, yeah, but I'm like 15. He's like, because they get married so young because they only live like 40 years. Yeah. Great scene. They're like, yeah, the Turian's like, no, look at the head tentacles. It's definitely closer to Turians. And one of them's like, no, I think they're more my people. I don't know. It's such a good scene. Such a good scene. It's not even a scene. It's literally a side conversation in the bar for a different quest you're going to. Like, you could walk right past them, but it's a great little conversation.
It's fascinating.
Oh, it's good. Baldur's Gate has a bunch of those too, where you could totally walk by, but if you stay there for a second, it's great. My number one tip for Baldur's Gate 3: talk to every single animal you possibly can. Always talk to the animals. Yep. They have the best dialogue.
Speak with animal potions.
They have the best dialogue by far. Plus, you can talk to Scratch and the owlbear.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't get the owlbear.
What's the Tressum? What's that one's name?
I don't remember, but the Tressum you only talk to like the one time.
Damn it.
Although
Tressum are my favorite, like probably like top 2 favorite like non-threatening monsters in 5e because it's just a cat with fucking wings.
Cat with wings, yeah. Gale has a Tressum. He has a pet Tressum.
Don't make me want to like Gale. Fuck.
What? Gale's awesome. Why would you not want to like Gale?
Gale apparently is the most popular fucking character.
He is the most popular character.
Is he really? Damn it.
Yeah.
I just because he's not one of the waifus, so I'm just like me.
What?
Yeah, no, he was the most played origin character behind the Dark Urge, I think.
Was he?
No, I'm sorry. It was Gale, Karlach, and the Dark Urge, I think, were top 3. They posted the statistics
a while
ago. Yeah,
I know Shadowheart was the top romance.
Yeah, Shadowheart was top romance.
As it should.
Let's go.
Sad. Cries in Infernal.
Karlach was right behind her.
Yeah, I know. Still,
where was Lae'zel then?
Way at the bottom.
Way at the bottom.
The bottom.
Oh, wait, shit, Isaiah. Did I tell you about what my buddy said? He was, because my buddy Dick got Baldur's Gate, and he's finally playing. I'm like, oh yeah, man, what are you doing? He's like, yeah, I'm talking to all these guys. I'm trying to romance all these, this good person. And he's like, and then this fucking frog bitch is annoying the crap out of me. I'm like, frog bitch? I'm like, oh, I'm like,
what the fuck?
And the internet
is that racist?
I said that too.
The internet has confused Githyanki with being frog people.
Yeah, I don't know why people think that, but yes, I've heard several people say they were frogs. I don't understand it. It's very weird.
Frog bitch.
I know. So fucking funny.
In his defense, at the beginning of the game, Lae'zel is actually the fucking worst. She's such a bitch. It's ridiculous. Like, she's awful.
Unlikable.
She's awful.
Yeah. You have to put some work.
You have to put a lot of work into not hating her. It takes a while.
It's so crazy too, because she is the first companion.
She is, yeah,
and she's the most unlikable one.
I know. It's crazy they started with her. It's a crazy choice. I feel like I'm shocked you didn't start with Gale, but I think it's just because she's a fighter.
Probably.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's fucking yeah.
Actually, random. Which fighter did you guys? I don't know if you guys.
I don't use
Lae'zel. Oh, all right. Looking at her character, what kind of fighter between the basic bitch 3 do you think she is?
She defaults to champion.
Does she default champion? Oh.
Yeah, but I made her. I made her a battle master.
See, I always thought she was Eldritch Knight because Githyanki, they're a lot of Gish. That's where the whole term comes from.
Yeah, but like the Githyanki, their power, they have like natural inbred abilities. They're not necessarily all casters. You know what I mean? Like they can.
No, but a lot of their high-ranking members are caster, like
I guess
actual Eldritch Knights.
True. Yeah, I made her a battle master, but yeah, she defaults to. I believe all of the characters default to the first subclass.
Oh, really?
I believe so, because fucking. Like Gale defaults to Evoker, Astarion defaults to Arcane Trickster. Obviously, Will's a Warlock, so he started with his, and Shadowheart's a fucking cleric, so she started with hers. Yeah, Lazelle's the defaults champion. And
Karlach
Karlach, no, Karlach.
Actually, no, wait, mine. Yeah,
Karlach
mine
defaults
actually,
to Totem Barbarian or Wild.
Yeah, I was about to say mine went to Totem, and I changed that immediately.
Yes.
I was like, nope. I'm like, that is incorrect.
So I guess that's technically the second one. I made Karlach Wild Magic Barbarian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a fun one.
Nice.
Anyway.
Yeah, anywho.
This is a tangent and a quarter. Where are we? What day is it? Isaiah, bring us somewhere.
Yeah.
Start in media res.
Strong. Yeah, start strong. Yeah.
Yes. Always.
Start in media res? Sure.
Start in media res. Yeah, what's happening? What's the point? And where's the action?
Well, the third point that I kind of wanted to bring up, which is if the first two are hard points where it's like quantifiable things that will make the situation better for you. This one's a little bit less solid. It's like a soft tip. No comment. Fuck you. The thing that I wrote down was play into it, right? If you have an issue where a lot of your descriptions are kind of clinical feeling, right? You find yourself in a tavern. You know, there are drinks around you, stuff like that. Try playing into it a little bit. You know, a certain RPG influencer who will no longer be named, who took over the How to Be a Good DM thing from Matt Mercer, had this really good point where if you are, for example, in a tavern, literally, even if you're behind a computer screen, act it out, right? Literally move your arms to sort of. Bro. Do you just figure it out?
No, I don't figure out. No, I didn't figure it out. I was just laughing because the weird physical antics I do when I am role playing a character are hilarious.
It helps. It helps you set the scene to yourself.
If somebody were watching me, they would think I was insane. Because we don't have cameras on, so definitely, somebody would look at me like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Like when I'm role playing Rebellion, oh my god, I can't. I make the most dickish faces when I'm role playing Rebellion. It's so funny.
Yeah, it's the same way with getting into character. You do the voice, the whole voice thing. Everyone's like,
I don't do voices much.
Yeah.
I do cadence and style of talk, but I don't really do a voice very much. Because a lot of the time you can convey the character through cadence, because the sort of way somebody speaks. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So Rebellion, for using him as an example, is kind of talks like a sassy teenager a little bit. But then there's another character like Zimma, who's a half-orc, or who's an orcish lady, who just talks really terse and talks very
feel like
she just says shit real blunt.
When you role play Zimma, I always feel like you're giving yourself an underbite to get the orc gruff.
You know what?
Just doesn't everybody?
You know what's really funny? I actually do.
I fucking called it. Let's go.
I physically give myself an underbite.
Yes.
Yeah, it makes sense. They have giant fucking tusks.
Yeah, I literally stick my bottom jaw out further when I roleplay Zimba, because it makes it a lot easier to stay in that tone. It's really funny. Yeah. No, I straight up do it. Oh man.
Yeah. So it's funny when I would roleplay Gariel the Croc Man in my game. Crocs don't have lips.
Right. Yeah.
So I would very specifically pull my lips back really tight. And whenever I have to make a P sound, it'd be like a click of the teeth. Even then, the TH sound, that's a really it's whistly because of how far back my teeth are.
Yeah. Because
but if it's something like please, the click. There's a
you're like
yeah.
It's a little phlegmy.
So he'd have this, and he'd have this really low, not low, but gruff, how y'all doing kind of voice. And it was really uncanny to, I don't know if it portrayed the
creepiness
of the character, but he was the most popular villain in my game so far. So I'd be doing something right with him.
Yeah, something was hitting.
He also, because he got big gator claws, he would tap tables. So I would literally make the tick 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 while players are speaking very quietly, just to convey that my teeth.
Oh, see, what I was thinking is I would take like a knife or something and tap it on my desk the whole time.
I have noise canceling on my mic, so it wouldn't come through. I tried that. I tried literally tapping on my desk, and they didn't hear anything.
That's why I would tap. That's why I said with a knife, something loud, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I see what you're saying.
So
you guys
basically,
ever
I'd
do
be like, I'd basically say, as you're speaking, you hear this subtle tick 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 tick.
Yeah.
Tick, tick, tick.
Yeah.
Just constantly be like, he's just looking down on you.
He's a lizard.
Did you guys ever do the speaking to the cup thing?
All
to, like,
the
get someone
time,
in, like-
baby. That's my favorite. I love the talking to the cup. That's my favorite one.
Yeah, I prefer coffee cups because they get the nice ring. And
let me tell you, Matt.
When I was playing my boy Hawk, this is the only way I would ever talk. I never ever. Yeah,
I literally.
That was literally. He's gonna say that.
Yeah, literally anytime I would play, because Hawk wears a
Burn in the
fucking
darkness.
Hawk wears a what are they? Why? Wow, I'm really
Gas
bad
mask?
today. No, it's not a gas mask. It's the Renaissance
Plague Doctor mask.
Plague Doctor mask.
Oh,
Jesus
Plague Doctor,
Christ! I swear I'm not an idiot. Holy fuck. Yeah, he wears the Plague Doctor mask all the time, so I'd always talk through my hands because he literally never has it off.
Yeah.
Yep.
Raise the resonance when he's saying how he
doing
sounds.
this
Like
with
his
cupping
voice
your
is
hands
echoing.
and doing this voice is very easy.
Yeah.
Especially when you're molded by it.
Like,
I am just credit cards reckoning.
Yeah. I was bored in the darkness. That's gonna sound a little. That's gonna sound a little goofy on recording. We'll see what Brett does with that.
I'm more than it. Molded by it. You really, if you're doing the mold, you have to get the really high note.
Molded by it.
God, I own the Dark Knight little box set. I need to see the behind the scenes and just fast forward until Tom Hardy's like, yeah, where the fuck did this weird old timey
Weird voice.
He talks about that in an interview. I can find it and send it to you. He found a dude, I think like at a bar or something. He just started talking to this guy who had that voice.
Of course he did.
And then he basically was like, hear me out. This will either be amazing or they'll laugh us off the stage. But like, let's at least try it just to see if it works.
It sort of worked.
Yeah.
In a weird way.
Yeah. And
Like-
I think from that the Harley Quinn show perfected where it's like, what if he had that accent and he was still Spanish? Bane?
Yeah, but it's Spanish.
And you're just like, hold up.
Yep.
You're like, how is this gonna work? And it's amazing.
Yeah, Bane's amazing in that show. He's so funny. The getting into it is definitely a hurdle that I don't know, man. I have I can understand having trouble getting into it, like not wanting to get into character. I can kind of understand, right? A newer GM, they feel a little awkward. They're like, I don't know if I want to be sitting here talking like this the whole time just because I'm playing a kobold. I mean, it's a little stereotypical, guys. I don't know for how long we're gonna do this. Joke's on you. I played a kobold character, so I did this for fucking hours. But anyway.
Correct.
Hours, baby. But it's like I can understand why a GM might not want to do that, but being hesitant to just sort of describe and set the scene, that one I have a little bit of a harder time understanding why you would be hesitant. You know what I mean? Like I almost don't know what to say to that person.
I don't necessarily think that it's a hesitancy via an unwillingness to get into character. What I meant was by getting into character, you sort of it's kind of like method acting, right? You put yourself in that space. And when you put yourself in that space, it helps you sort of think about that space as if you were really there, right? If you're playing a kobold, you might not think, as Josh, oh wait, kobolds probably have to stand on bar stools because they're short. Or they'd have to climb up a bar stool because they're short. Yeah. But if you're talking like zigzags, so you're kind of doing this, you're like, hey, 1 second, can I get a boost? Let me out.
You kind of T-Rex your hands a little bit to get that feeling too. You're like,
yeah.
Everyone fears the mighty T-Rex.
Like, dude, when I was playing Yak, because, he's got the whole, like, I'm a reincarnation of Kortulmak thing, I would unironically do the, like, shuffle your hand, like the evil villain, like, washing your hands motion.
The ringing,
yeah. When he speaks like this about his acolytes. Like, I would do, like, weird evil villain shit and, like because he's fucking weird. I like snap my head back and forth while talking. It gets you into it. It does.
Again, reminder: we didn't see Isaiah doing any of this. He was just doing this in his room.
Yeah, in my room to myself like an idiot.
Like a psycho. Yo, roleplay looks crazy from the outside.
Dude, it's crazy. It's wild. Like, I've had like family members being like, what the fuck are you doing? And I'm like, things,
like, listen,
stuff and things.
It's great. Trust me. Trust me. And you should see me when I bust out the math rocks. It's a whole different universe.
Oh, yeah, no. I've literally... I have done the... If anyone has seen the movie Rango, when he's got the fucking plastic toothpick sword, and I'm doing like a monologue to my players, I'm doing that. I've got an actual sword, and I'm swinging it around. Like, yeah.
I will say the Nyack voice was really, that was fucking something.
That was great.
That was a work of art when you did that one.
I had to be like, what is the most unhinged thing I can think of? Yeah, like the utmost gremlin energy. And you know who else? I took there's an actual play called Warhams that If the Emperor Had a Text-to-Speech crew did. And one of them did a tech priest Scutari ranger named Piebrain, and his voice is like, man, Grebe, what if we have to do this? Like, and I was like, all right, take that and like ghoulify it.
Yeah, kobold that shit up.
Yeah, just crunch that bitch up and make it come out of a kobold schizophrenic head, and then that was Nyack. That was my boy. Yeah, dude, you get like, I got like a really good, and to be fair, it's like a really, it's the bullshit Ezio accent, but I got like really good at doing the Italian one because I played Alias for 3 years.
True.
Jesus.
Yeah. Going on 4. Fuck.
Damn.
Yeah, so just...
And then there was me doing Australian accents terribly for 6 months. Didn't get any better.
Did you get any better at it?
Nope.
No, because Matt didn't do any research. He just went for it. He just said send it.
Yeah, I was just like, all right, Australian, Steve Irwin, crikey. All right, we're there.
All right, we're doing it, mate. I'm ready to go.
I love Wolf.
Love Wolf. Big fan of spiders. Put those spiders on the Barbie. Spiders.
That's basically, yeah.
Yep.
6 months.
That's fantastic.
Steve Irwin, but spiders.
Yeah, basically.
Whatever. Did you guys? Did they ever fight a cloaker? Did all of the fucking
no? I never
Australian drow freak out when a cloaker got
high level. No, they were so high level that cloakers were like would have been annoying. I threw one at them way early, like when they were first doing the. Oh my god, what was the first dungeon they went into? Oh, I'm blanking on the name of it, but like their first dungeon.
Isaiah just
encounter.
wants you to do a cloaker because he just wants it to talk really.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Isaiah's headcanon for some reason that cloakers are hood.
Well, it's because it's that image of the one with the fucking golden chain. You're like, what is this guy?
Yeah, no, I used to think they had like a boss and like, come on, what the fuck you think you're talking about? Come on. But now it's like, now I saw the cloaker with the gold chain and the fucking backwards Yankee snapback. He's coming out of the sky and be like, hey, yo, what's good? What?
Hey, yo, Holmes, what's poppin'?
Yeah, yo, you're not ready for You're in the Underdark. It's pitch black and y'all hear yurt and the fucking cloaker coming out of nowhere.
The cloaker kicks you.
Like, I know it's using its York.
Hey, yo,
it literally has a moan ability, so it could be like, hey, yo, yurt.
It does have a moan.
Yeah.
I hate that it's called moan.
Now I'm just thinking about cloakers wearing Timbs.
They don't have feet.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how they'd wear the Timbs, but I'm thinking about it.
Do they do the like laces on the electric line, but on their tail?
Yeah.
Maybe. Maybe that's the move. Oh,
that's wild. That is absolutely insane.
I can't. I'm done.
I fucking can't.
Take us somewhere else, sir.
Okay, well, the last one I have, and this is the one that, you know, this is the one that literally requires some homework to be done, so I know that this one might not be the most, like...
I'm out. I'm done. I don't do homework anymore.
Willingly accepted one, but, like, practice.
Been out of school for years. Fuck this shit.
Like, literally practice your improv. Like, something that helped me a lot, right?
Well, go ahead. I had a thought, but keep going.
Something that helped me a lot, right, is I am running. I take a shot every time Isaiah brings up post-apocalypse because I'm running a game in the vein of like a la Borderlands. I would look at very early on in the game. I would look at screen grabs from Borderlands, and I would describe those as where my players were. You know, like if you think about like anyone who played Borderlands 1 to the halfway mark, Sledge's hideout in Borderlands 1. I would talk about I'm pulling it up now because I don't remember what the fuck it looks like off the top of my head. But so like Sledge's hideout is like a mill, some sort of like a wood mill or a steel mill, and you sort of describe how the corrugated metal is like patchwork riveted together to form this creepy overpass. A lot of rebar that was probably used for industrial equipment is strewn about in makeshift pikes with skulls on it. Like, you just describe literally what you're looking at. Especially if you have a screen grab, or it's the same thing with the avatar. It's right there. But, you know, you just do it outside of session. And then you can start picking up on specific motifs. Like, if you look at a lot of medieval fantasy, right? A big one is, like, the braziers and the torches on the wall, the low-lit candlelight, that, like, faded old oak wood everything furniture that you always see at, like, a tavern.
Take
big
pictures.
Tankards filled with ale.
Here, I got
do shit like that.
Go to the Ren Fair and just take a bunch of pictures and just analyze.
Yeah. And I know this is the right reason I brought this up last, because a lot of people are like, well, I'm busy, I have shit to do during the week, I don't have time. It like you don't have to, but it like any skill, it's good to practice it when you're not actively using it.
Do it when you're dicking around on your phone when you wake up in the morning.
Yeah, if you're dicking around on your phone in the morning, or like you're walking home from work or driving. Dude, I do a lot of fucking Brandon Lee Mulligan talks about this. I do a lot of my voice work in the car.
Yeah,
while
a lot
I'm driving.
of people say that. A lot of people bring that up.
Or when you're in the shower, when you're on the toilet, like whatever private time you have.
After you just had your fresh wank in the shower and you're in a good mood, start doing goofy voices.
Yeah, see, that works.
I remember the interview with Mark Hamill when he was like going to the audition for the Joker back in the 90s, and he was like,
he's laughing in the car.
He's like, I'm trying to get the right laugh. And he's like, nah, it's too much.
He's like,
nah, it's too menacing. Yeah.
Yep.
And then he's like, I turn and look at the car next to me, and the woman in the other car is staring at me, and I'm like, alrighty.
Listen, man, he got paid, didn't he?
Oh yeah.
Also, that's like one of his best performances there is, so it works.
100%.
Yeah. I mean, I think unironically, he's a far better voice actor than he is an actor.
Yeah.
And I think he admits that as well.
I'd have to think about that, but that's probably, you're probably on something there. Yeah. Yeah, I could see that.
I also remember the Batman
he's like Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves, like, dramatic acting chops, but like his ability to be a physical actor a la Neo and John Wick, amazing. Next level.
Hey John, how you doing today? I'm fine. Bro, are you okay? I just asked if you were like, bro, what? Can you like talk normally? No. All right. I'm done here.
It's like, how long's Matt gonna do this bit?
I don't want to take up too much.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair.
People keep asking me if I'm back. Yeah, I think I'm back.
Not.
It's like, you know, and then the funny thing about Keanu Reeves is his voice acting chops a little bit all over the place. A little all over the place.
Yeah, there are parts in Cyberpunk where I'm like, holy shit, this is great.
And those other parts where you're like, you sound like an idiot.
It's also weird because, like, I remember one of the first complaints of Cyberpunk when everyone was like, I can't see Johnny Silverhand being Keanu or Keanu being Johnny Silverhand.
Yeah.
He's too nice of a guy. And it's just like, bro, it's acting. He is an actor.
I'm not going to lie. The first time I saw Johnny Silverhand, it did throw me off. It took a little while. I ain't even going to lie.
Dude,
wake up, samurai. I need to come.
Yeah, his douchebaggery is one of my favorite bits of Cyberpunk. Just his capability of being such a fucking asshole makes me laugh.
Cock.
Yeah, that line. It's like, you remind me a lot of myself, except for the charisma and impressive cock.
Like, are you trying to pick me up or insult me?
Such a good line.
Just like,
Such a good line.
You know, it's even better because if you're playing a male V, you're like,
sure,
oof.
okay.
But if you're playing a female B, you're female V, and I mean like, you know, female hoo-ha. And she's just looking at him like, yeah? Uh-huh. Sure.
I mean, that's not, I don't, but okay, sure, bud, whatever makes you happy.
yeah. She's like, sorry, I guess?
Yeah, yeah, I mean, what you're saying definitely, what you're saying is pretty much where I was going to go with it. It's like, practice, basically just kind of look at shots or scenes that you're into, and you don't even necessarily have to say it out loud, but think about how you would describe them.
I mean, using the five senses, like Isaiah said earlier, like what's the color of the environment you're currently in? Like, what does it smell like? What does it feel like? You know.
Oh, and going back to the movie, another reason I like to describe things like movies is because I will often also talk about a scene as if you're seeing it through a camera lens and via production value. So I will sometimes describe how a scene is actually tinted a different color as if it was color graded, because even though that's probably not what it would actually look like, it sort of sells the point more. So like, particularly when my players, when they first early on entered the Withered Lands in my game, which is sort of a apocalyptic hellscape area, I described how there was like almost a black and white filter over top of the Withered Lands, and that everything is like varying degrees of gray. Like even the brightest little bits of foliage are still fairly gray, as if it had been color graded in that direction, because it sold the point, and it gives you the idea of like what kind of place you're in and the tone of this place and how shitty it is.
Yeah.
You
I will say it also...
You look at the flowers, and the flowers are gray, and the water is gray, and you are sad.
And kind of like I think Isaiah, you mentioned earlier, but like getting the player buy-in to the excitement and everything, but like getting them to like, all right, what the, you know, it's like you're trying to role play with the characters. It's like get them to do voices or something, or like they don't have to go like, you know, super hard, but like it's like, yeah, your character in this world around you, like, you know, what would your character do? It's not like the whole like, oh, yeah, my name's Dylan, I'm a rogue. It's like, no, man, what's your deal? Oh,
I'm a rogue.
I'm Bricks, the rogue who hits people with bricks. You're just like, damn. Strength rogue, nice.
Let me just say, I hate when anytime somebody's like, all right, what's your D&D character? Well, I'm a fighter. It's like, I don't fucking care what class you are until we roll initiative, my guy. I do not care. Please just describe your fucking character. Don't tell me you're a fighter.
Well, no, I think that's a good, like, you can say what the class is that gets, like, everyone to, you know, get an idea of, like, what their deal is. But then they're like, okay, so your character's a rogue, but what does that mean? It's like, okay, well, I like, Bricks isn't like your usual rogue who goes around and stabs people in the night. He's more of your like upfront intimidate you and then smash a brick into your face kind of rogue.
See, I just but here's the thing. I would just say, just describe the character. Oh, I'm a bigger built dude. I have this sort of heavy dark black cloak on. I appear to have my hands are all calloused up. I have a very sort of intimidating look, you know, fucking shaved head or something, whatever. Like I would just describe all that shit. Because I took
the criminal background so I can have a pet mouse.
yeah, my pet mouse.
I call him Cheddars.
Yeah, my pet mouse pops out of my pocket. I just don't like. It's not that bad. I don't know. I just kind of hate when the first things out of your fucking mouth are, "I'm the wizard." I'm like, I don't care that you're the wizard. Like, I mean, I care when it's relevant, which is to say when initiative starts. But when you're sitting in the tavern, I don't need you to tell me you're the wizard. Tell me that you're an old man with a long wizened beard and a long staff. I'm probably gonna guess you're the wizard anyway. You know what I mean?
Joke's on you, I'm the barbarian.
Well, in which case, I'd be interested into how that's going to work. You know? I don't know. I mean, if you want to mention, I feel like, I guess you can mention your class if you want to as like a descriptor thing, but I would say do it last, not first. You know
Well, again,
I mean?
I think if you say
Or
it first,
towards the
it sets the baseline. Because if
I
you're
don't think
just
it
describing
does.
all the... No?
No, well,
I think it gets everybody to like... It gets everybody to understand, like, again, you have that, you mentioned it earlier, the, everyone has the same mindscape,
the shared
or the
mindscape.
same idea.
Here's the problem.
Sharing the same idea.
here's the problem though. You say I'm the rogue, and then everyone instantaneously has a picture in their head that they pop up, and your character might look nothing like that.
That's fine, because then you go on with the rest of the description. Then you're like, oh.
Right, but then it becomes harder for everyone to really nail down what your character looks like because you said one thing and then described something else, and now there's like a conflict in people's heads, you know? Because if you say I'm the wizard, a lot of people's brains probably going to default to Gandalf, and then you specify I'm a young elf maiden with long blonde hair. Everyone goes, oh fuck, that's not at all what I was thinking when you said wizard.
Yeah, but
You know?
I don't think that's a bad thing.
It's not necessarily a bad thing. It just makes it a little harder to cement the character in your head sometimes because there's that initial friction. And it's just like
Mayhaps.
classes don't have visual descriptors really. Like there's no rule that says I'm a barbarian.
Player's handbook.
Well, like they have the art, but what I'm saying is they don't literally, there's not a rule that says you are playing a barbarian. Your character must be jacked. You know what I mean? Like, there's no visual descriptor rules to any of the classes. You could play a barbarian who's a tiny waifish girl who gets really angry and somehow swings around a big sword, and just you could play May from Guilty Gear as a barbarian, is what I'm saying. You know, you wouldn't call May a barbarian, but if you think about it, she kind of is. Minus the
I would absolutely call May a fucking barbarian.
minus the angry part. She doesn't necessarily get very angry, but you know, get the point. She definitely does reckless attack.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's Totsugeki Tuesday, my dudes.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Whatever. Maybe that's just I don't. Maybe it's just me who has.
No, that's a fair thing to say. Like, if you're trying to actively get people to engage in something, and they hit you with descriptors, well, that's the same issue as a GM being like, "You're in a bar."
Right.
There's someone who walks up to you at the bar. It's like, well, what's in the bar? What the fuck? Whoa. Back the fuck up.
Well, yeah.
What's going on?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You start off with that, then you add description. You don't just be like, yeah, you're in a tavern, and then end it there. It's like you describe the tavern. Because again, most like movie scripts and stuff like that, they that's what they end up doing. They're like, scene starts, tavern. Then to describe like, you know, like, oh yeah, the bartender is wiping the glass at the counter that is clearly recently has been like spilt drinks all over it, and he is just does not want to deal with it, so he's just working on this one cup, hoping that the spillage will go away.
So here's the thing, though.
And novels kind of do that too.
Well, for a novel, it makes sense. But here's what I'll say: you're talking about the movie script.
Yeah.
But when we're playing tabletop, we're watching the movie. And when you're watching the movie, the first thing you get isn't the words. The first thing you get is the visuals, which is why I'm saying, that's why I think I'm saying you should describe the visuals first. You know what I mean? You don't necessarily get informed, this is a bar, but the camera pans through the door and you look around the room and you see the visual of a bar. That's kind of what, and if we're talking about also, if we're talking about people or players who have trouble with doing this kind of describing the scene and getting everyone in that shared space, then I think just jumping right into the visual descriptors is more helpful. Maybe. I'm not a psychologist. Maybe I'm thinking about this wrong, but I think that makes sense to me. I have a degree, but not in psychology. Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty much everything I had. Just so that I, like, was rattling around in my think pan for a few days. Which most of my topics, really, I'm like, fuck, what am I going to talk about? And then someone says something, and I'm like, that's it. That's the whole thing. That's 2 hours.
Yeah.
And totally not a sponsor, but like also, you know, the website describe. I'm like looking. They have free options, and they're not bad.
What the fuck is that website?
That's the one where it gives you like descriptors for like specifically tabletop and like D&D things. Like literally, like there's one over here that says using bardic inspiration. And like,
see, that's where I'm like, you know what? Do the Critical Role thing and just ad lib the shit out of songs, because that is pretty much universally fucking funny.
Yeah,
bonus
hard,
points
though.
if you fucking.
Yeah, that's hard. Yeah, that is hard.
Like
hard,
you know. Thankfully, you're not the bard. That's a bard problem, not a you problem. Yeah, you were, but you weren't like a musical bard. You were like
that's true.
Cool
Zigzags
sword
was
dance
not.
bard.
Yeah.
That's true. Zigzags was like a dancer performer bard.
There was a lot
Yeah,
of.
if you're
I
a
don't know if you
musical
guys-
bard. Go on.
No, I was gonna say there was that issue when like Critical was getting big, where a lot of DMs on like Reddit was like, "Yeah, I want to play a bard in the campaign, but my DM says I'm forced to sing, and I don't want to." And it's like,
That's
come
not
on.
even a Critical Role problem. That's been a thing for fucking eternity. So many.
Yeah, I don't know
people that do
what
that shit.
advice to give on that, other than to
off.
just look at your DM in the eyes and go,
yeah,
no.
Yeah,
I'm here to play
And
a
if he
game.
says
I'm not here to
you can't-
perform for you.
Yeah. And if he says, well, you can't do your inspiration, then go, no.
Neat, I'll find a new
and then do it
table.
anyway.
yeah.
Yeah, that's when the players just commandeer the game. Just be like, fighter, roll at D4 anyway. I don't give a fuck. And the DM's like, no, you can't do that. I'm the DM. And they go, okay, you may have heard me, but I'll repeat it just in case. I don't really give a fuck. Roll the D4. Yeah, just commandeer the game. Just be like, look, you can go home now. It's okay. Goodbye.
Look at the DM. This is my game now.
Your services are no longer required.
Look at
I'm pretty sure I read a D&D horror story about that once where the DM was just fired by the party.
Look at me. I'm
And,
the
like-
captain now.
Yeah, look at me. Look at me. I am the captain now.
Yeah.
But yeah. Josh, do you want to let them know where they can find us?
Up to says, bada bring! Oh, fucking hey,
Fucking
God.
And we're
It's a
canceled.
fucking,
Thanks, guys. It's been a great
the
run.
fucking gabagoo. It's good. With Parmesan, you know what I'm saying?
No, literally no.
No,
You don't like Parmesan?
I do.
Just not out. That's just not
Well,
what it
now
comes
that you
out of my
said
mouth.
that.
That's just
Yeah. All right. Well, you know.
very angry, disgruntled. I do indeed like Parmesan, sir.
Well, you can find us on Staten Island, eh?
Never.
I don't know why I'm doing this.
Yo,
Hey,
shout out to
Rocky sells over
fucking the
200. Give it
TMNT,
a
the
like.
Rise of the TMNT movie at the end when Leonardo's like, oh God, are we in Staten Island?
Yeah.
Yo,
Fuck.
Yo, absolutely roasted.
Yeah.
Flambéed those
I was
boys.
in the city this weekend and I was told by someone they're trying to build another bridge connecting Staten Island to New York City to help with the traffic. And people of Staten Island are fighting against it because it will take away the identity of the island. Of like, no, you have to use the one bridge to get here because we're special.
Oh my God.
It's like,
that's the
it's
most.
like, how
This is
about
why no one likes you,
fucking
Staten
no,
Island.
Staten
That's
Island.
the
No one
most
likes you.
Staten Island shit to say. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wait, I kind of love that though. I like how petty that is. I like that. It's really petty. It's
Yeah.
really funny. Oh, New York City never change. Fucking hell. Oh my God. Except change what you call upstate. Change that one thing. I want that change.
I do too.
God damn it, dude. Oh God, follow us on Twitter for fuck's sake. Not in Staten Island. None of us live there. We're good. Just follow us on Twitter. All I ask.
Yeah.
A simple request. Oh shit.
Hey,
Alright,
yo,
y'all.
Claire, give me the fucking barbarian bardic inspiration over here. We're going to the underdog. Get some Australian hotties. Let's go.
No, I'm done. I'm out. I'll see y'all later. Goodbye. Deuce.
Jesus. I don't even know where that came from.